Chapter 5. Token Economics.
Morning, Angela. New prices, eh? 20 tokens for $10. Is the game still 1 token each?
Aren't you the cheeky one? Yeah, still a token per game. But this way, hopefully customers will spend more than their $4 average. I'm not making enough at $1 a game.
So people normally only spend $4 when they visit here, eh? 4 games and they walk out? Well, I'll buy 20 tokens for $10. Thanks. See you soon.
Aren't you going to play the games?
Hey, Steve, what are you doing?
Nothing much.
Then let me do you a favor. Here, have 4 video game tokens for just $3.
Sure. I get a bonus game for $3? Thanks.
Hey, Harry, have you seen Steve?
Sure. He's off playing video games at the parlor. Want some cheap tokens? 8 for $6.
That's cheap. I get 2 free games out of that. Sure.
I'd like to buy 40 tokens, please.
What happened to the ones I sold you?
I sold them.
You can't do that.
It looks pretty busy in here. If you let me, I'll sell some more tokens for you.
All right, just behave yourself.
How many in a bag? How much for?
7 in a bag for $5.
Great. I'll buy 4 bags. That'll be 28 tokens for $20.
But Steve, mate, you can get 40 tokens for $20 at the video game parlor.
I know that, but I'm going to sell these to those guys right away. They don't want to wait in your queue.
But what are they going to do with them? Why don't they just go to the parlor?
They've been watching you making heaps of money selling these bags of tokens and want in on the action.
What are you doing, Steve? How much are you selling them for?
Selling tokens. 10 tokens for $20.
That's crazy, Steve. The parlor will sell them 40 tokens for $20. Why would they buy them from you and only get 10?
No, they can't. I bought all the tokens off the parlor. Now, if you want tokens, you buy them from me. A limited supply pushes up the price.
But who would buy a token for $2 when it only costs $1 to play a video game?
Harry mate, nobody's playing video games in the parlor. Tokens are now worth way too much to throw away playing games with them. People are buying them so that they can sell them again for a higher price.
This is going to end in tears.
Hi, Mason. Did you hear about the crazy stuff going on with Steve making lots of money selling video game tokens?
Certainly did. I got one for just $5. I just heard they're selling for about $9 each now.
But that's just crazy. They're only worth $1 at the most because that's what a video game is worth.
That's where you're wrong. The intrinsic value is only $1 each, but their current market value is $9. So as long as I sell for more than $5, I make a profit. I'm going to hold out for $20 and make 4 times my money.
But that will never work. You're going to lose your money.
Before I learned about ICOs and their tokens, I would have agreed with you. But now I'm sure there is a greater fool than me out there who will pay my price.
And they're going to pay you your price because they think someone will pay even more to them? At some point, that has all got to come crashing down.
Yes, you're right. The trick is selling before the price crashes, though they will always be worth at least as much as their intrinsic value of $1 because that is what a video game at the parlor costs.
If tokens are worth so much now, why doesn't Margaret get more tokens manufactured and sell them? Making tokens is almost like printing money.
No, Margaret would know that it won't work. If she floods the market with new tokens, the price will collapse, or the price bubble would burst.
How much does it cost a company doing an ICO to make their tokens?
If they use the ERC20 standard on the Ethereum network, it's almost free. But it's not like printing money. It's like selling a service early and cheap, and then exchanging that token for the service when it's available. Imagine a project called Kitten Coin. It runs an ICO and sells kitten tokens to the people who fund the project. The money they make from the sale goes to the programmers who write a program that adds kittens into photos. The crowdfunding people then sell their tokens on exchanges. The people who buy these tokens want to swap them for kittens in their photos. Some speculators want kitten coins to sell them for more money in the future.
But I've heard about ICOs selling $150 million worth of tokens. Does that mean that they're going to provide at least $150 million worth of services? That seems like a lot of service for a startup to commit to.
Yes, it does. It would be like Margaret from the video game parlor, selling 150 million tokens. It would take 100 years for people to spend them all in her little shop. Nobody wants to wait that long for a game, but ICO token sales can be like this.
Or even worse. It is more like they're selling tokens to play video games before they've built a shop or the video game machines have been created. So how many people buying tokens in an ICO intend to use them, and how many are just hoping to sell them for more later on?
This is hard to answer and is different for each project, but it seems that in most cases during the ICO, tokens are purchased for profit rather than for use. Have you heard about the ICO for useless Ethereum token?
No, that sounds like a joke or a satire. Is it real?
Yes, it was a joke and a satire, and is also real. It was completely transparent about the project, including the fact that there was no product and the token would be completely useless. Even so, it sold $260,000 worth of tokens during the ICO. It is still trading on exchanges at the moment.
Then everyone must have only bought that token intending to sell it later for more.
Exactly. This is likely to be the case for most tokens bought through ICOs, and this would explain why some of them are so successful without providing sufficient information to be confident in the project.
But this sort of thing doesn't happen with other forms of fundraising, does it? Why does it happen with tokens?
Historically, there have been many similar events with other types of fundraising. People often refer to the Great Tulip Bubble of 1637 as the first of the speculative investment getting out of control. But as new forms of investment go wrong, governments legislate ways to control them. But because investing in ICOs uses decentralized payment systems enabled by Bitcoin and Ethereum, enforcing any regulation is going to be much more difficult than it was in the past.
That is terrible. So there is nothing that can be done to protect people?
Maybe it isn't so terrible. Many ways of making more money depend on investors already being very well off. People with low income or capital can be excluded by law. ICOs are one of a new set of financial opportunities opening up to everybody. This should give everyone a more equal chance of increasing their own fortunes. And one of the best protections is education. The more people understand how token economics works, the less people will be caught as the last greater fool holding a worthless investment. Q&A section. Question 1. What is the difference between intrinsic value and speculative value? A. Speculative value is nearly always higher. B. Intrinsic value is typically much more stable. C. Intrinsic value is based on usefulness, whereas speculative value is based on a desired future price. D. All of the above.
All of those answers are correct. It seems simple when you put it like that.
That's right. And the thing that stops it seeming so simple is that some items have both, but other items don't. Question 2. What effect does creating and selling more tokens have? A. It increases the profit made by the issuing party. B. It raises interest in the token, which increases its value. C. It has no noticeable effect because value is based on what people will pay. D. It decreases the value because the competition between sellers is stronger.
D. It decreases the token value. And I bet anyone hanging on to tokens to sell at their highest price would suddenly get scared and want to sell them fast.
Correct, and they do. They also want to sell so much that they are willing to offer a much lower price just to get out safely before it is too late. But if they believe the token has intrinsic value similar to the current value, they will be much less scared. Question 3. Why do token sales often become speculative bubbles? A. because using ERC-20 tools and standards make it very cheap to create something of no real value. B. Because the type of fund raising is so new, laws that reduce bubbles have not been enacted. C. Because amateur investors have access to this market and do not have experience. D. All of the above.
All of the above again. Does how fast and cheap it is to sell tokens have an effect too?
Yes, all of the above. And yes, token transfers can be fast and cheap. So you can profit from very small increases in value, whereas when trading shares, all of the broker expenses and other costs prevent you from frequently changing your collection of stocks and shares.